Thank you for joining me for another one of my breakdown videos.
When you're just starting out, and for most actors are sending out information.
What's up, everybody?
If you get lucky, that energy that you were sending out turns around and comes back at you.
This is news now. We're over here in Mesquite, Texas at the PD and City Hall, and
What would it take to shift from a model of communication where we use defensiveness for self-protection and power struggle to get our needs met, not all the time, but a significant amount of the time, to a model of communication where we would have full power and be able to be open and vulnerable and still protect ourselves and also be much more direct and honest?
When I use the word breakdown, I'm simply referring to a deconstruction of a conversation that I've had with a believer for the purpose of training others.
But there's a lot of energy spent in trying to read this and field offers of that are coming to you.
I am by myself today, so it does make it a little risky.
So I had to figure out a system that made sense to me.
You have 5 minutes to talk about how you got to your God belief? Just 5, I'll time it.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Seth agrees to a 5-minute conversation, so I've added a little timer on the right-hand side of the screen. He also raises so many reasons for his beliefs that, in this video, I've added a list to keep track of them all. As he raises them, I'll add them to the list, and as we discover together that they're not reliable, I'll fade them off the list. At the end of the conversation, you'll see where we stand.
It's a cool looking police department. Never seen one like this.
And I gave a numerical value to the things that I found to be the most important.
Next, we establish a belief scale.
Strength-wise, would you say 0% is I don't believe, 100% is I absolutely believe? Wow.
For sure.
You're right up there at the 100% mark.
I slip in the word wager in my response to tip off any atheists that might be watching the video that I've noticed a fallacy, but turn it into a question instead. Street epistemologists don't tell a person what or how to think. They just help people examine why their beliefs make sense to them.
Assuming this is the main entrance, I'm not for sure.
What are you using to get up to that point if it's not evidence?
Up to that point is a quick reference to the belief scale that we've already established.
If you can't be for sure on it, if you can't definitively prove what you can't see, can you really be at 100%?
You can see her right there. She's sitting down at the desk.
Do you want to believe things that are true?
I like to believe things that are true.
Me too. I think it's, a good way to go through life.
Watch Commander March.
Is there no way that you can discover that you've been mistaken on the belief?
How's it going?
Alright, how are you? Is there a reason why you're filming?
I'm an investigative journalist.
You're an investigative journalist?
Yes.
Okay.
What's your name?
Officer Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. You're an investigative journalist?
Yes. I'm just gathering content for a story, that's all.
Okay, that's fine. We got a couple calls from
Okay.
people inside the police department that are kind of concerned about you just hanging around and filming, that's all.
Do you want to believe things that are true?
I like to believe things that are true.
Me too. I think it's, a good way to go through life.
Who do you work for?
I'd rather not answer that.
Okay. Do you stay around here?
I'd rather not answer that either.
Okay. How much longer do you plan to be out here?
As long as I need to.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Those are easy to crush, but why? Turn it instead into a reflective question that moves the conversation forward. I still struggle with pauses, but I'm determined to get better at it. I think pauses make all the difference. Street epistemology is not a gotcha situation, so if they ask for a clarification, be happy to give it. It just means you're closer to understanding each other. Chill out, relax, ask him a probing question instead. This is not about debating. It's about getting your conversation partner to reflect on himself.
Vehicle number P258. Mesquite Police.
So if I want to ask questions and do it in a way where I'm more likely to disarm defensiveness and diffuse or even eliminate power struggle, then I need to shift from asking questions in a way that makes people feel interrogated to a way that makes people feel actually safe and want to open up.
Looks like a rookie.
What's going on, man?
Not much.
Doing all right?
So I thought in order to communicate with non-defensive power, the next thing we would have to do is to be able to give feedback so that instead of people feeling criticized and judged, which in a, one person in power up and the other person power down, who's winning, who's losing, much of the time when we're giving feedback to people, we tend to do it in a way that has more judgment or criticism. So how could we give feedback to people in a way that they actually felt respected and wanted to hear what we had to say?
Doing all right?
Chill out, relax, ask him a probing question instead. This is not about debating. It's about getting your conversation partner to reflect on himself.
What's the reason for the stop? Why are you stopping?
I'm just stopping. I'm just asking, see what's going on, man.
And so if I'm shifting from what I call the war model to a non-defensive model, in the war model, when you ask questions, you're often sending double messages or you're entrapping people. I think I mentioned once before that when I looked up the word question in the dictionary, I never found it defined with curiosity, but it was defined over and over again with the word interrogation.
I don't need any police assistance, officer. How do you say your name?
Soudress.
Soudress? Oh, okay.
It's kind
Alright.
of weird. I know.
So I began to think about what would it take to shift from a model of communication where we use defensiveness for self-protection and power struggle to get our needs met, to a model of communication where we would have full power and be able to be open and vulnerable and still protect ourselves and also be much more direct and honest.
Just making sure you're all right. People call, making sure.
What did they say?
They're just wondering what you're doing.
Is it unlawful?
Nope.
What I'm doing? Okay.
You doing all right? Nothing I can help you with?
I don't need any police assistance, officer.
Go ahead.
It's a lawful activity. There's no reason for them to get upset.